So there you have it. All right, let's take a deeper dive into the housing market situation here in South Florida. Joining us now is George Theodore from Address Real Estate. George, thanks so much for joining us today on Miami Life. I have to tell you, I've been in South Florida a long time, George, and we've done a lot of stories like this. And it seems to me that every time real estate folks say, now is the time you want to buy. I don't care if the demand is high, prices are through the roof, and mortgage rates are high. They say now is the time to buy. But is it really now the time to buy?
Well, it depends on if people need to buy, right? So sometimes people need to move here and they have to buy a home. Sometimes people need to sell a home, so it would be an ideal situation. The South Florida pricing is up. It's the hottest market in the country. It's one of the hottest markets in the world. So for me, that's interesting because I like to put my money where it's in demand. So putting my money to work, let's say. Prices are up for single family homes about 13% year over year, even though the number of homes that have sold has decreased about 1% recently. So it depends. Also, if you're in the condo market or if you're in the single family home market.
That's a whole other ball of wax. Yeah. It seems to me that in South Florida, the big issue is the entry level folks who are just trying to get in. And that has a ripple effect because folks who buy a house, young families in a few years, they may want to trade up, but if they can't get in to begin with, then it stifles the whole market a little bit, doesn't it?
It does do that. The interest rates rising for mortgages has affected that because the starting homes usually are impacted or affected by mortgages. We have a lot of buyers that are not affected by mortgages in South Florida, and that has a trickle effect on increasing the prices. On the opposite side, I would say that from the north part of Miami-Dade all the way to the south, there's all kinds of products. So the person would have to agree to live a little bit further out in order to get the pricing that they want.
Understood. During COVID, we saw a lot of out-of-towners come in, a lot of New Yorkers come in. They came down here and said, man, these prices are cheap. So they were buying houses, as you alluded to, they're just paying cash, and that had a big impact on the market. Do we still see that dynamic or not as much now?
I think there's a lot more companies opening up in South Florida and bringing high-paying jobs down to South Florida. People are moving from New York, Boston, and internationally. You know, the Miami Association of Realtors, for our friends watching today, has a lot of statistics on who's looking and who's coming, et cetera. There's, you know, the steady flow from South America, and now there's people from Russia, Germany, et cetera. So there are people coming from out of town. We're net positive in population in Florida.
So the bottom line is if you can get in, it's a good investment because the prices are probably going to keep going up.
I think so. We're bullish on the market in general because we think that it's a place that, especially Miami-Dade County, Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Miami-Dade County, let's say to Florida City, are of interest to people and they want to come live here. And we have an explosive population growth in the United States and in Florida.
Here's the wild card, George, these insurance costs. They're through the roof for a lot of folks. People are afraid about that. You tack on the high prices and also the high mortgage rates. And I just wonder and worry if we're looking at maybe a bubble that's about to burst. What do you think?
I think that affordability is an issue. And of course, property taxes aren't going to change. I mean, the alternative to higher property taxes is income taxes. So I don't know if anybody in the legislature or in Florida in general is interested in altering that. So let's leave that where it sits. Now, with respect to insurance prices, we did implement Citizens, 25, 30 years ago, and it has worked out. Insurance is expensive. I was talking to a person this morning from North Carolina who's interested in coming down, and she's a medical doctor, so let's presume that she has a good income, and she was shocked as to the cost of insurance down here. But I also think that our homes are much more resilient than they used to be, and over time, that improvement in building and in making it more resilient to natural disasters will help us decrease insurance rates.
We got about 40 seconds here. The condo market, a whole nother ball of wax. I know a lot of condo owners who feel like they're stuck. They want to sell their condos. They're in older buildings, but they're worried that nobody's going to want to buy them because of the high assessments or the fear of the high assessments coming. What would you say to those folks?
I think that there is legislation, that affected the condo market, and we do have an increase in the amount of condos available and a decrease in the pricing of those condos. So that is problematic. But I think that the changes that were made over the last couple of months are going to increase the financial stability of the condominium, increase the structural integrity and make the building safer, and improve management. So overall, whenever you implement a change in law and policy and whatever it is, it's difficult to implement and it rattles people. But I think overall it's going to improve the product, and there are available programs from Miami-Dade County, the state, and the federal government to help people with those condo assessments, and they can pay them over time.
Appreciate your expertise. So it sounds like the bottom line, it sounds like George is saying, you know what, just forget the sticker shock, hold your nose, and just dive on in, because this is the real estate market here in South Florida.
It is in demand.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you coming on Miami Live.